This was my resume in high school, this was my resume in college, and this was that magical resume that landed me 15 software engineering job offers. As you can see, my resume has always been a work in progress. It's gotten better and better. And don't worry, I'm gonna show you how to craft the perfect resume in a separate video. But today, I'm gonna go through all my previous resumes. I'm essentially gonna roast myself to show you what you shouldn't do or what's missing, because learning what not to do helps you understand what you should do. Thanks to Squarespace for making all of this possible. 5 years, 3 resumes, countless hours of iteration. Let's get into it. High school. Alright, so I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but at least in the US, when you apply to colleges, you send over essays along with your resume. Let's roast mine. First things first, this resume breaks the cardinal sin of resumes. It's more than 1 page. And if you're thinking, oh, that's totally fine, it means all your awesomeness couldn't fit on 1 page, you're wrong. It's not a good thing. I always tell people, if Elon Musk's resume can fit on 1 page, so can yours. A resume is not a memoir. It's not everything you've done in life. It's an exercise in prioritization, picking only the most impactful, impressive achievements, and displaying them in a way that is easy to understand. Honestly, Elon's resume could be 3 words: PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX. Boom. So please keep your resume to 1 page. Young numbin, so naive. There's only one exception to this rule, if you're in research or academia. In that case, it's okay to have multi-page resumes because they're essentially a list of all your publications, citations, and conferences. Next, look at how much white space there is. And every bit of white space is wasted space. Space that could have held text or content, all the reasons why you're amazing, why you should get the job. I mean, just look at the margins. This is like an English essay, like an MLA double-spaced paper. I don't remember, but I probably use the Microsoft Word default 1-inch margins, and that's way too much. You probably just need 0.25 or 0.5-inch margins. On a similar note, when I do use space, I don't do it efficiently. Like, I put stuff on separate lines for no reason. Like, does my email address need its own line? No, absolutely not. And why did I include my entire address? It's not like they're gonna send me a letter. Just a city or state or country is more than enough. Looking at the presentation, some of the content is hard to read. I should have done a better job styling, so using bolded text, underlining, and italics to really draw the reader's attention to the most important things. Also, the indentation of the date ranges don't seem aligned with the top heading. And I use abbreviations, which are usually fine if they're easy to understand, but I use SSN, like what is that, seasons I think? But it's not obvious. And for the work experiences, I should use bullet points because they're way easier to read than blocks of text. As for the content itself, I use a lot of vague and cliche language, like I'll say lead and supervise. Sounds great, but what does that mean? They're just words. We need to show impact through actions, not just words. And there aren't that many numbers. I'm not proving I made an impact. I'm just saying, here are some words, please believe me. It's so much better to say supervise corporate groups of 100+ people over multiple 4-hour shifts. Numbers show action and impact. Alright, I could probably continue roasting this resume, but for now, let's move on. Pre-internship. So the high school resume, for all its faults, did the job. It got me to college, to Rice, and during my first year, to get ready for the career fair, I crafted a new resume with all the experiences after high school. It looked like this. Let's rip it apart. Alright, so right off the bat, this resume looks way better, and looks are like 90% of the battle. Remember, a recruiter is only gonna have 10 to 15 seconds to read your resume, so if it looks nice, you're already ahead. I'd say the text is still hard to read. It's like gray or light black, and it doesn't offer as much contrast. I think making everything black would have probably been the move. I also don't know why I bolded my last name. It's kind of weird. I do like that I included clickable hyperlinks, but they're not obvious. Unless you have a PDF viewer that marks them somehow, you can't really tell. And imagine if you print out the resume, then you definitely can't tell. So changing the color of the links to blue, I think would be way better. As for content, I like the way I've categorized things, but if you look at the coursework section, it's kind of bare bones. I don't want to remove it because it's good to tell prospective employers which classes you've taken, but I should probably include everything I'm planning to take that first year. And it's not technically lying because by the time you show up for the internship during the summer, the whole year has passed. Remember, never lie on your resume, but inflating the truth is okay. I also don't know if everyone knows the acronym for BS or Bachelor's of Science, so maybe I should have expanded it instead of using the abbreviation. I also don't like the white space at the bottom left because it draws your attention to this blank patch. It would have been better to fill it with something or reorganize the entire structure of the resume to balance out the gaps. I'm using bullet points now, which is good, but it still feels a little plain. I'd like to have seen some bold words or italicized or underlined ones. Formatting and styling goes a long way. Cool, not a bad first year college resume, but we can definitely do better. And just like we're trying to improve our resumes, let's level up our websites. Squarespace offers robust analytics so you can gain powerful insights into who's visiting your site and how they're interacting with your content. You're exposed to metrics like page views, traffic sources, and audience geography. You also have powerful blogging tools at your fingertips that allow you to share stories, photos, videos, and updates. And as you build out your personal brand and business, you can easily gather contributions with PayPal, Apple Pay, Stripe, and Venmo. And you have access to member areas where you can unlock new revenue streams for your business by selling access to gated content like classes, online courses, or newsletters. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Naman Kapoor to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And now we get to that magical resume, the one that got me those 15 software engineering job offers, including my favorite internships and dream new grad offer. But it's not the resume I use today, because like everything in life, there's always room for improvement. So let's make it better. I'll try not to repeat some of the comments from before, but they still apply. Like, why is my last name bolded? And maybe I should say Bachelor of Science, and I'd like to see more color everywhere. Now, I filled the white space void in the bottom left, but what I've put there is far too important to be hidden away like that. These are all my awards and honors, and they don't have to be front and center, but they need to be somewhere more prominent, more visible. Putting them there makes it feel like I'm hiding something. As for classes, by this point I'm already pursuing my master's along with my bachelor's, so it'll be good to include my graduate level coursework. I also don't think the Kleiner Perkins Fellowship deserves its own section. I should probably bundle it with the Gusto internship since I did those during the same summer. I like that I've included a lot of numbers, but again, I'd like some of them to be bolded so they're easier to find. I also think I'm getting to the point where less is more. I'm more experienced now, so I should probably pick like 2 or 3 experiences and really beef them up, which means adding more bullets and removing some of the older sections like Project Modulate. So in general, I'd say this resume is pretty solid content-wise, but it still needs some work in the formatting and styling areas. My resumes weren't the best, but over the years, after countless hours of iteration, I figured out what makes a good resume. And now I'm on the other side. As a software engineer, I interview people and review all your resumes, so I know what to look for. Hopefully this video has shown you what not to do, which gives you a better understanding of what you should do. And stay tuned for that video on breaking down the perfect resume. That's all I have. Till next time, cheers.